All right, so I guess we can go straight into the next story, which ties into the previous one, which is the next-gen launch leaks. Now, according to VideoGamesChronicles.com's development and retail sources, now, again, keep in mind these are sources, but this is a journalistic entity, so they do have vetting and stuff like that. So I would say take it with a grain of salt, but don't look at it as like a straight-up lie because there are reputable sources there. Mid-November is exactly when the PS5 is most likely to land. In the UK, we understand that PlayStation has already booked a significant marketing spend for 7 days commencing on Friday, November 13th. Multiple retail sources have told us that a launch during this window would fit within their expectations. So it seems like they're cross-referencing this date with other people, and they're saying, yeah, that pretty much lines up with what we feeling like too. Development and resale sources also agree that Xbox will launch first. Xbox has told developers to plan towards a launch in the very first week of November, we understand, which would give it wiggle room to potentially slip into the second week and still launch ahead of Sony. Xbox sources indicated that the platform holder is also expecting PS5 to arrive within the week commencing in November 13th. So there's a lot to unpack here. So the first part is that they looked at the marketing spend for the 7 days commencing in Friday, November 13th over in the UK. And I saw some people taking issue with this, saying, well, that's the UK. And I would like to also emphasize the fact that if you look at the Sony marketing interview that happened not too long ago that we reported on here, he mentioned that Sony is moving towards globalization of everything marketing. So a global launch is very likely for the PS5. They've tried to globalize their PlayStation initiatives, the little taglines, everything. They're seeming to try to get rid of this separation between PlayStation America, Europe, and Asia and kind of just have a unified ecosystem. So a worldwide launch doesn't seem outside the realm of possibility. So I would say just because this is from the UK, don't think that the United States is going to be happening way after or anything. If anything, we happen before the UK. Another thing is that Xbox will launch first. That makes all the sense in the world. Xbox, I think, is, from a hardware perspective, very obviously ready to go. They haven't released any of the pricing and stuff like that because I honestly do feel like they're waiting for... Sony's waiting for Xbox to pull the trigger first, and Xbox is waiting for Sony to pull the trigger first, probably to just shave off a little bit off their price to undercut the other guy just a little bit to make it a little bit more enticing to people to buy, probably. They're obviously... If there's a massive discrepancy where, like, let's say Sony wants to launch at 500 and Xbox had 600, then obviously that's too wide of a discrepancy to play off each other. But I feel like they're going to launch within a similar price range, and they're just trying to shave off maybe $25, $50 here and there to undercut the other guy, just to give people another reason to get your hardware over the others. But yeah, Xbox going first makes all the sense in the world. They have their devices into people's hands. They're all over the place with this thing. They're doing size comparisons where the PS5, you're not seeing pop up too much places at all. We're seeing images here and there, but they're very close to the chest with the PS5 in comparison to the Series X. So yeah, I mean, this makes a lot of sense to me. It's before Black Friday, which everybody knows if you're going to launch a console, you launch pre-Black Friday to hit those holiday sales. If you miss Black Friday and you have to launch after that, boot it to the next year. Don't launch around Christmas. It's a bad idea. That's why the Switch launched in like March, for example. It gave everybody a chance to get through Christmas, get past Black Friday, do everything well into 2017, and then you launch. So if they're really intent on launching in 2021, the third week of November is pretty much the latest you can really do. Maybe the very beginning of the fourth week, but even that's pushing it to beat out those Black Friday sales. So yes, this makes all the sense in the world. Expect Xbox first or second week, and then Sony probably in the third week. So what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree for most of everything you said. Again, we know these consoles, both companies have reiterated. They're like, it's this year. Sony just came out in that interview. They're like, no, we're not going to boot it to 2021. Pretty much saying, stop asking us. It's releasing this year. Microsoft the same again. Microsoft just released that photo with like the Xbox with like GameCube around it and PlayStation on the size comparison. So it's like, well, Xbox is at least showing photos of the system. We saw, the official like photos with on the plain white background that Sony has done, and that's it. So it is nerve-wracking. These dates lined up. What really solidified it for me is, if I'm not wrong, Call of Duty Black Ops, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, I think is scheduled for the 13th. So that makes super sense because it's going to be cross-gen with that $70 bundle So I think I agree completely that Xbox will probably try to get out that first week of November, if not the second week, and PlayStation will be a week after, especially with like Assassin's Creed Valhalla. That date I want to say is like the 17th or something.
Yeah, it's very close.
So, and these I'd be surprised if these systems don't launch on a Friday, especially with the whole global trying to unite thing, and they've been doing that for a while. Most of the first party games and stuff like that release on Fridays and things like that. So I keep looking at like that 13th and 20th date and the 6th. Obviously, you're not doing it the 27th. Obviously, that's the holiday weekend.
Way too late.
I even say November 20th is too late. It's like right there. So these systems originally, not these systems, but PS4 and Xbox One, I want to say were 2 weeks apart. PlayStation came out, I want to say 2 weeks earlier than the Xbox, and that helped it for a while. So obviously, I do also agree that Xbox is gonna be ready to go. They're gonna, Xbox is doing everything they can to really close that gap and really surpass Sony, or at least catch up in a sense. Being first out, while everyone's sitting there twiddling their thumbs waiting for the PlayStation, and there's a nice new shiny box on the shelf, it's gonna be tempting for people who don't have that impulse control. They're like, oh, I got a credit card, I can put that on there right now to hold me 2 weeks until PlayStation or whatever it may be. But these dates are all but confirmed. Between like these big hitters, Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty, all these other big hitters, all the sports games that are lining up right before like that November release, just makes a ton of sense for me. Control releasing their Ultimate Edition. I think it's already out, I guess. I don't even know. Like
end of August, so yeah, it has to just come out.
I know on Steam it's up there or whatever, on Epic Games. But so it's making sense. I completely agree that these dates, especially that November 13th, I don't know what it is, but there's that Friday the 13th just really speaks to me. I don't know if it's on PlayStation's behalf or on Xbox's behalf, but someone's launching the 13th, and someone may be launching that 6th.
Oh yeah, maybe.
But hopefully, I'm sending the energy out there. Hopefully we hear something soon. I just want to start worrying less about things. So once at least I have the date, and then once I have some maybe pricing and pre-order dates, then I can attack. Then I can move. But this waiting around, waiting for launches, and the fact is, before we know it, there's going to be a too good of a leak to ignore. Like, we had that the Xbox Series S has not been confirmed, even though we have the box. So at some point, these things are going to start leaking.
Oh yeah.
Someone at GameStop is going to leak the poster board, and
September has to be the month.
It has to be the month. So and I didn't work at GameStop during a launch of a system, but we get poster boards of games that are not announced. The Call of Duty poster boards we got weeks before the game was even announced.
Yeah.
And it would sit in our back room, and someone could easily take a photo. Everyone at my store was, genuine, but at other people, anyone could have walked in the back room, took a photo, and leaked that photo with the date smack dab right there on the thing. So this is gonna start leaking if they don't control it, and it's starting to do that. It's starting to fall through the cracks with like these UK leaks and everyone trying to get on board.
Before we go to the next story, I do want to ask one definitive question. Now that we're getting closer to next gen, we're starting to get all this information. Let's say they do launch a week from each other. Pricing aside, availability aside, are you going for one console over another, or are you really have your heart set on getting both?
First and foremost, I need the PlayStation 5. I need the PS5. That's my goal. And like I've said on the show before, I will settle if I have to get an all-digital version, because I think it's going to be slightly easier to get that. And then later down the line, because I understand backwards compatibility is not going to be what it is on PlayStation. So my goal is to be able to play Miles Morales and like Ratchet and Clank, which are both confirmed to be launch window games, not launch games, but at least launch window. So PlayStation 5 is where I'm at first. When it comes to the Series X, I was more keen on getting it with Halo, just because it'd be cool to get another new Xbox, have Halo there. Obviously, that is not the case. I'm in the aspect where I'll get an Xbox when I get it, when I feel like, I'll get it now. If I find a good deal, if the Series S is a real thing, I'm like, I can get that instead. So that's my go-to thing. But my go-to thing is I need the PlayStation 5. That's the thing. Even if it comes out a week, like if Xbox comes out a week early, I don't see myself being able to drop. Because again, if you're estimating $500 a console, I can't just drop $1,000 out of nowhere, in conjunction with I'm gonna have to I always get a second control. I want games, whatever headsets there, whatever is available. So I can't just I'll just get both systems and it is what it is. And I did the same with the current gen. I mean, we were friends when I got my Xbox. I was like, I got it 5 months after launch, and I had no issue walking into GameStop, and they had
the VCR,
yeah, you remember the big boy?
Yeah,
they were happy. I was like, you guys have Xbox One? They're like, yeah. They're like, yes, we do. They didn't have PS4s at the time, but luckily I did have one at launch. So that's my definitive thing: is I need a PS5. That's my complete.
So that's your priority.
That's my priority. Xbox information, I like to know it just because I like to know everything, and obviously we like to discuss it on the show. And you and I discuss it, off camera and everything. But that's where I need to be. What are you in the same boat, or are you?
Okay, well, it's I'm conflicted about it. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna do everything in my power to get both, within reason. If they're both relatively accessible and I have access to both, I will get both. Mm-hmm. And the financial reality is I might just take the hit on it. The thing is, the more Microsoft talks, the worse my prospect of getting it is at launch, because they're just like, okay, yeah, you don't need to upgrade if you don't want. And I'm like, okay, yeah, everything you can do on your current console, you can do on the Xbox Series X. It's all parity amongst the thing. Yeah. So it's they're the ones that keep emphasizing, the more they talk, that, yeah, it's not going to do anything that different day one. So there's pros and cons. There's pros is, when I buy the PS5, yeah, I'm going to have to buy some games with it. When I buy the Series X, it's fine. I already have a Game Pass subscription. I'll have access to everything day one anyways.
That's true.
With all first party, that's what I mean. I'm talking only first party. Third party, it's going to go back and forth depending on which one runs better. If they run the same, then I don't know. PlayStation 5 obviously has to take my priority because of the exclusives. At the end of the day, yeah, the biggest Xbox exclusive that's coming to Xbox Series X, which is going to be awesome, is Halo. That's not coming until 2021. So that takes away the launch kind of energy. Mm-hmm. PlayStation 5's the kind of wild card where it's I don't really know where any of those games are falling, but I know they're only coming on PS5.
True.
And they're not going to be playable on PS4, definitively. So worst case scenario, I can't get a Series X. That's kind of okay, because my Xbox One will run everything. I won't be locked out of any games, any experiences. There's obviously tech differentials where I won't be able to suspend games and stuff like that. But in terms of, hey, a new game came out, can I be able to play it? They'll all be available on there. I can't say the same for PlayStation, so it naturally has to take precedence. So within reason, I'm going to try my very hardest to get both. But as of right now, if I only have access to one, I have to pull the trigger on the PS5. And that's not, obviously, neither of us are Sony fanboys, but it's just facts are facts. And Sony has a different value proposition of upgrading compared to Microsoft, where Microsoft is definitely trying to ease you into the next gen. And when you ease people into the next gen, people are not going to pull the trigger. As hard as, obviously, your competition is, where they're like, nope, you're only going to get experiences here. Well, it's well, then I got to get that one.
Yeah, exactly.
But I am concerned about the demand differential, where it's PS5 I might not be able to get my hands on, and Series X I might. So there might be a reality where I have a Series X and not a PS5, but I'm going to try to make that not be the case.
Yeah, I'm hoping not. Now, are you okay with compromising, and what if you can only get the PS5 digital?
I'll take that. It's not ideal. I just would... I'm a physical gamer at the beginning of the PS4. This COVID has turned me more into a digital gamer, just out of necessity.
Yeah. Yep.
And again, I like my physical games, but as they take the booklets away, as they include less in the game, as the installs become bigger and bigger, and now because the games are not easy to get your hands on, almost every reason to be physical has dissipated for the most part.
Yep.
Now that I get a physical disc and I still have an 18 gig install, what is the disc for then? Okay, it's on my shelf, that's cute, but that only takes you so far. And as I dive deeper into retro, my shelf space is being occupied way more by Genesis stuff than PS4 stuff. So going into the PS5 generation, massive installs are going to be a thing whether I have discs or not. It's not going to be that necessary. And especially if it saves me a little bit of more money, all right, screw it. I'll deal with that. And backwards compatibility is not something. I don't see myself reaching too much into the PS4 generation for backwards compatibility. And if I want to play any last gen stuff, I'll treat it the same way I treated it this gen. I'll just do it on Xbox. So that's kind of my approach for it. I don't mind going all digital. I would prefer the disc thing because just having more options is always going to be ideal. But if I have to go digital, I'll take it. That's not going to hang me up any at all because I'm essentially a digital gamer right now anyways.
Yeah, I completely agree. And between me becoming not more of a, but including PC gaming in my ecosystem, on top of the way COVID's been, on top of the Switch, because just sometimes getting physical Switch games is annoying.
Yeah, it is.
I've gone not completely digital, but like majority digital. Ghost of Tsushima I did digital. Last of Us, though I ended up getting the collector's edition, on launch day, I got the digital version, and most of these games I got, like the last physical new game I got was, I don't know, Resident Evil 3 because it was like $40 on Amazon. Yeah, so it's weird. I think it was Resident Evil 3. Way later when the Final Fantasy Deluxe Edition came out, I was able to get it, but on launch, Final Fantasy, you and I, we were playing it digital just because I wasn't going to wait. And Final Fantasy really got that short end of the stick when it was stuck in between everything. But besides that, I mean, if I have to go all digital, I'll go all digital. That's not an issue. And at some point, I probably will get a second PS5, or my wife someone will want one, and I don't know. Then when I have like more of an option, I'll get the Pro. But like we're saying, you and I are big retro gamers. We don't mind. I mean, I have my Genesis hooked up right there. I don't mind bringing out the PS4 if I have to play a PS4 game that I have physical.
Yeah, that's no big deal.
It's not
for us. For other people maybe, but for us, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, so it's like, well, if I can only play PS5 games on my PS5, I'm like, well, that's what I want the PS5 for, to play PS5 games. Don't get me wrong, I like my old stuff, but my PS3's sitting there too, big old piano. It is what it is.